Domo arigato, Mr. Roboto. Welcome to the Starcraft ladder at the low-level leagues. My name is Igbarash. Let's get into the game. You guys excited? I'm excited. Looks like we have, spawning up here in the north, the red Terran named Mr. Whippy. The little carbot decal he has for his command center, certainly appropriate of his name. And in the blue trunks, the south corner, the hero of every video. That's me, that's Igbarash. You guys excited? I'm excited. TvT, Heavy Rain. Heavy Rain, one of my most favoriteest maps. I don't know, it's fun. There's rocks to break down and extra attack paths in the middle there. And it's not too bad for Terran because it's sort of skinnier than a lot of maps. Short, skinny is a good Terran thing. Anywhere where there's choke points where your tanks can blast away foes. Anyway, you guys excited? I'm excited. I got my coffee, ready for a good TvT in the Silver League. Standard barracks going up. And we're just going to wait for things to get underway here as both Terrans decide to power up. I think his depot is a little bit misplaced there, but it doesn't really matter all that much since Terrans have this unit called Reaper. They can jump up past walls and see what's in the base. Gas timing, did I do? No, just a normal gas on 12, it looks like. I didn't really catch that. He's going no gas, which sort of an old school way of doing it. We call it the Silver League way of doing things. But anyway, I'm curious to what he's going to do with it. Maybe just a 1-Rex command center. You usually need gas nowadays when you open as a Terran because you need those Reapers. Because, especially in a TvT, if your opponent decides to make 3 or 4 Reapers and all you have is Marines, you will die because Reapers are pretty good at killing Marines, especially since they regenerate hit points if they run away. Looks like he is actually going to go for an early expand with that SCV down at the natural up there in the north, and yes, it is a 1-Rex expand play. Sort of uncommon, scouts pass each other in the middle there. Still has no gas, still has no orbital, which is a little bit troubling. Which means I don't think this guy really knows what he's doing, but anyway. Since he built the command center on the low ground, my scout is going to spot that. And I immediately turn and begin harassing that. No, I decide to bunker up. Is that Marine going to spot it? Yes. So this is normally what you do to a Zerg player, is you put a bunker behind their building as they're building it. Because they're not going to have Zerglings out as quick as a Marine comes out. My SCV stops building the bunker and sort of runs away. And he will begin attacking him. My Reaper's going to come up there for the support. He's questioning my build because you don't normally do this to a Terran. But see that Reaper take out that Marine? He died. And a little spatter of blood there. I'm also going to take out the SCV, second SCV building that command center. At this point, if I continue to build Reapers, which I think another one is moving down the middle of the map there, I'm going to fight a Marine for a little bit. Get as much damage as I can. Bunker is complete. Going to allow this command center never to be built since he still has no gas. He does see that I'm building my own command center. It's a very nice scout by Mr. Whippy. In the meantime, Igbarash, the second Reaper, is it going to live? Yes, I do pick off one of the Marines before hopping into the bunker. And forced to cancel that command center. Job's done by those Reapers. They did what they were supposed to do. Going to salvage the bunker, get out of there, save the units. Delayed his command center building a lot. He built 2 more barracks. In the meantime, going to rebuild that command center on his high ground, it looks like. Go, Mr. Whippy. Besides, oh yeah, there's this thing called Vespene gas. It would help me deal with units like Reapers. It's a little bit late now. Their job has been done. Looks like the SCV tumbled off the corner of the map there. But what is Igbarash doing from here? He is building a reactor and a factory. Let's see if I'm still mining gas for starport. I am still mining a little bit of gas. Do you guys like this new Game Heart interface? Shows the APM in the bottom right corner along with the resources lost, I guess, and the income. Anyway, I have 3 Reapers now. I guess I committed quite a bit to that. Gonna be building, what are those? 2 more barracks, so 3 barracks and a reactor. Hellions coming out, so I'm gonna be making some Hellions. I decided to do a Zerg build. Normally, if you're a Terran against a Zerg player, you build Reapers, 2 or 3 Reapers with a bunch of Hellions to take out Zerglings, since those are melee units. Not as common against Terran. But in this case, since I've only seen Marines out of him, think it's gonna work kind of well. Still not building any Hellions yet. I probably don't have enough money for it quite. Yeah, I do now, but I don't know what I'm doing with it. Putting up a missile turret because I haven't really seen what's in his base. I just like early engineering base, especially since I have both my gases running. It'll allow me to get an upgrade soon-ish. There I am building some Hellions. His factory in the meantime is almost done. And I get stim and +1 right away. Gotta love that bio, folks. Good bio, good coffee. This coffee's good. Shut up, Bartosis. This is part of the violence. Oh, I love this Terran music. Let's listen to that music, yo. My scan reveals a factory with a tech lab. In which case I'm probably, I'm still building 2 more Hellions. So I'm going to bank on the fact that the tank's going to take a while to construct. He does have only Marines still, and his command center is not on the low ground mining yet, while mine is, so it looks like I've taken a pretty good lead so far in this game. 33 to 27 workers, about even there if you factor in some mules. Right now I'm keeping this at home for a little bit of defense. I really thought that he was going to put some aggression on me. And building a starport right on that reactor so I can begin to take out medevacs. Looks like my Reapers and Hellions going to move across the map now, see if any damage can be done. I went with 6 Hellions overall. Again, a common build against Zerg because their units are melee and Hellions can kite backwards. Not as common against the Terran. We'll see if this attack gets anything done. Hellions poke the front. There's a single Marauder in there that's going to be unkillable by Reapers and Hellions. I decide to take up the fight. How many units can I kill? Not very many, it turns out. Even Marines, when they're in a horizontal, not a vertical line like that, can battle Hellions pretty well. Once I see that single tank shot, I decide to go in there and take another one, and then realize, oh, his tanks are up. He is now defended. But I did take out a good chunk of his Marines. They're going to allow me to kind of reset the Marine count on both sides so you can begin powering out Marines together. And since I have a bunch of reactors, I'm not sure if he has the same amount. In doing that. Getting the armory from my +2 upgrades in armory allows you to research +2 for infantry out of the engineering bay. That is the tech building that is required. The armory also gives you upgrades for your ships, your starships, and your stargates. It's Void Ray. What am I saying anymore? Okay, so it's going to be a Marine tank on both sides. Is building Marauder, actually. I have Stim and +1 currently in the upgrades, and it's 44 to 36 workers. You can see that command center being on the low ground for so much longer since I delayed it in the beginning. It's going to allow for a worker lead. I'm sorry for the video screw-ups there. I don't know why that happens. Medevac drop going out since I have reactored out medevacs right now. Although I'm not currently building any. I'm going to do a single drop as I put down a 3rd command center. You want to kind of direct your opponent's attention in some ways. I'm going to send out a 2nd drop with a tank in it, which is kind of odd. Anyway, Marine drop's very effective. He does spot this with the supply depots built on the far right side of his base there, which is a nice thing. Looks like I'm not really paying attention to that. I do finally drop them. I believe Stim is done, but the SCVs are pulled in time. I'm not going to be able to quite chase them, but I'm going to do as much damage to that command center as I can. Maybe force him to use a little bit of his own minerals to repair his command center if he decides to do so. But anyway, the whole point of this, again, was to sort of, oh, it looks like I swapped out the tank for 2 Hellions and a medevac. Realizing, why am I picking up a tank and 2 Marines? You don't drop a tank and 2 Marines. It doesn't really do it. Anyway, I'm going to stim a Marine up the center, make sure nothing's walking at me at the same time these 2 Hellions come in the side. See if I can roast any workers. I'm going to drop them nowhere. Oh, I'm pulling that medevac back in as he sees that one. So, again, double pronged attack. Anything to keep the opponent's attention away from me as I'm taking that 3rd base. Although I'm not exactly sure he doesn't have one. Anyway, these Stim Marines get in and just slaughter the mineral line. My voice is dying there. Nice little Hellion drop to stop that turret from being built. You can see he's a little paralyzed there, not moving his army, but dealing with both drops at once. +2 for my infantry coming up. I am going to stand those, for some reason, Marines on the corner, and they're going to stop that turret from being built, which is a very nice thing. I also caused him to waste a bunch of his own minerals on a lot of turrets. It is now 24 to 52 SCVs. It looks like I've pretty much got this game won since my third base is up and running. And he has banked 1,000 minerals in his bank, and he really needs to spend that. Currently, he's just freaking out and building turrets. 21 workers killed. Dang. Well, sorry guys, this is not as an exciting game as I thought it would be. But maybe we can talk about other things, like the band Journey. How good they are. No, I don't know, that's such a hackneyed thing to say. It's not the right word, but it's common. I'm a hipster. Barracks explosion, gonna be pumping out a lot of marines, even realizing that I've banked 800 minerals and 1,000 gas, so I'm not doing too well on that front either. I did kill a turret there with a couple marines and drop, I think the medevac died when it dropped those out. But I did open up another hole for another potential drop, although he's probably gonna fill that with a bunch more turrets. Now he spots my third base. What he should do at this moment is begin to move his ship forward and attack me because he has no third base. I'm curious as to why he built a wall here. Normally you do that against a Zerg player. Sometimes against Protoss, since they're a primary unit zealots, they're also a melee unit. Even Dark Templars, things like that. Terran doesn't have any melee units. So there's really no reason to wall against them, because they can fire at your wall from a distance. It doesn't really block units from running in. But anyway, when he scanned me, I realized, I thought, well, he has no third base, as my marine can see there, so he's probably going to get ready to attack me, at least want to move out. So I'm going to do another double prong. Looking for that hole, I opened up with a turret, only to find 3 more turrets. Gonna kill everything. 2 marines survive the slaughter, and I walk into some tank fire. Gonna set up some siege tanks. Now I clearly have less than him, but in a TvT you always can't see what's behind your opponent's tanks. So I'm going to hopefully scare him. At least this tactic is just sort of a soft contain to prevent him from building a third base in that location below his main. My +3 weapons is on the way, along with combat shield 17 minutes into the game. That's a little bit late. Combat shield is an upgrade for your marines that gives them +10 HP and a little shield graphic that they carry. How they hold a shield and a rifle at the same time, reload and fire it, is beyond me. You can answer that question yourself. And here's my very standard misrally of the barracks into siege tank fire, but it does draw his units a little bit forward and force them to get damaged. Now the reason we're scanning each other, in case you didn't know, is that siege tanks can fire farther than they can see. So if you have some extra vision, ooh, that tank can also be misrallied. Nice little drop for the siege tank up there, since I probably have those units on hold position. Hard to move out of the way. But again, what I'm trying to do is contain him from taking a third base, forced him to run into my siege tank fire, take a bunch of losses if he wants to take a third command center. Now see, I'm holding that medevac out in the position, again, because siege tanks can fire farther than they can see, so if you have vision ahead of them, they will hit stuff farther away, and that's the whole reason my medevac's kind of hanging out in the corner there. Which is why, very often, TvT tank battles turn into a Viking war, because you're trying to control the vision ahead of your tanks. If your tanks can see farther than his, then you win. They shoot first. My 4th base going up, holding a medevac in that position, even though I know there's less turrets there. Always need that threat, some kind of counter-aggression. If for some reason he crushes this army, or if he does some sort of drop on me, I can drop him at the same time. And it looks like I did send my drop in, but one siege tank successfully fended off with SCVs holding barrels of Vespian gas, repairing it. And continuing to scan my opponent. Well, I guess I'm going to make sure that he doesn't have a base down there, sending out a ton of marines in a single tank along the left side of the map. And he is going to be sending a medevac up there. This is pretty fortuitous, as I have a massive reinforcing or flanking army that's going to be spotting this medevac, and oh, sees it right there, and kabooyah! It's a stim of all the marines. Killed that medevac, dead. At this point, you're probably pretty disheartened. And he GG's out of the game when he realizes this contain is no longer going to be broken, and his medevac died. Thank you for watching, everyone. Tune in tomorrow for another ladder.